Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MJ and El Santa podcast. I'm your host, Moonwalker Tanya. All right, part 4. Here we go.
I think that there might be a different result today because of the Me Too movement, but I think there clearly would be a different result today if we had the cooperation of those who have now publicly acknowledged
What didn't happen?
What had happened.
Again, what didn't happen? And of course, he's referring to the mockumentary from 2019. First of all, well, hang on, I'll let the thing play first.
Michael Jackson's family is challenging allegations of sexual abuse against the late pop icon in a new HBO documentary.
I kept thinking over and over again, what if Wade had gotten on the stand and told that story?
First of all, it's a mockumentary, not documentary. And number 2, as far as Wade testifying in 2005, nothing was preventing him from coming forward. Nothing. You know, Scott Ross, he said he interviewed Wade for, I think he said 3 hours, and Tom Sneddon, there were other people who also interviewed Wade. They went after him. They tried to break him. And Wade is weak, let me tell you. So, if he was trying to cover up for Michael, they would have broken him. They would have. And they did not ask him just, oh, did Michael Jackson molest you? Nope. Okay, you're our star witness. Congratulations. No. They asked him specific, graphic questions. So Wade, James, and all the others who were involved in the investigation, they were well aware of what sexual abuse was. They were not groomed. They were not coached. Nothing was preventing them from coming forward. Like I've mentioned many times before, the reason why Wade changed his story is because he was rejected for the Michael Jackson 1 show in Vegas in 2011. Then he changed his story in 2013 when he went on the Today Show. During that same year, in 2013, the Safechuck family business was sued for a lot of money because they didn't pay their investors back. Dumbasses. And then they saw Wade on the Today Show, and then they found out about the civil lawsuit. I just remembered, I was abused too. Stupid. And then when Frank Cascio, when he ran into gambling debts, now he's threatening the estate to give him $200 million or he's coming forward with false allegations.
I remember when Wade Robson testified, it was devastating for the prosecution.
Duh. Ew, get that ugly face. Ugh.
These boys, now grown men, come in and say, Michael Jackson didn't do anything to me. But now, if you watch this
mockumentary,
it unravels the story.
Unravels the lies, not the story.
Even if you do believe the allegations against Michael, you
never did.
Sure can't deny the talent. That would.
Even if Michael was guilty, yes, he was talented. But I could not support somebody who is a child molester. I couldn't do it.
Michael Jackson was a god.
No, he wasn't. No. There is only one God, and it's not Michael Jackson. Michael has even said that himself.
He was somebody who loved children, who was often seen in the company of children, helping inner city kids, giving them a day of fun and joy. And then all of a sudden there's this new twist on it.
New lies on it.
Wasn't that he had a DUI or had robbed somebody. This is molestation.
Jordy Chandler was a boy
who in the early 90s had befriended Michael Jackson. They were inseparable.
The eighth grader says that from March through July 1993, he frequently shared a bed with the singer, and, quote, during our relationship, Michael Jackson had sexual contact with me on many occasions.
Just so you know, when Evan Chandler tried to first accuse Michael of molesting Jordan, Jordan did not want to go along with it. So Evan Chandler had to beat up Jordan and drugged him to force him into lying on Michael.
Lawyers who were representing Michael at the time thought it was a good idea for him to settle because he wouldn't have to go through the spectacle of a trial.
And that was a huge mistake. But there was a lot more to it than what the media was saying. Now, first, his advisors told him that he could end up going to court up to 7 years fighting this case. I personally don't know why it would take 7 years. I think they were exaggerating. But that was just a big mess. I do believe Michael was manipulated by his advisors to settle. That was a huge mistake. And like I said in part 3, I mean, Michael wanted the criminal case to go first, while the Chandlers wanted the civil case to go first. So I had a huge problem with that instantly, you know. And yeah, Evan Chandler was a deadbeat dad. He was thousands of dollars behind on child support. He wasn't interested in spending time with Jordan at all. He wasn't even interested in Jordan until he found out he was friends with Michael Jackson. And Evan Chandler wanted money to remodel his home and to fund his stupid screenplay. But Michael refused to fund all these projects. So that's when Evan Chandler had to think of a way to quickly get some money. And like I said in part 3, you know, when Jordan went along with it because he was forced to, you know, then the majority of the settlement went to Jordan. Evan Chandler tried to sue him for the settlement. And then when that didn't work, he tried to kill Jordan to receive the settlement as an inheritance. So does that sound like a victim to you? No.
Once the civil lawsuit for around $20 million was settled, the criminal case fizzled.
Because the Chandlers stopped cooperating. They wanted the civil case to go first. The judge stupidly allowed it. They got the money, and then they ran. It was never about justice. It was never about caring. It was all about money. That's what it was always about. And Jordan's lawyer said himself that the civil case did not silence the family. It did not prevent Jordan from testifying. And it did not prevent the criminal case from going forward. It has been proven. So whenever those dumb MJ haters say it was hush money, tell them to shut up.
You know, what I wanted to happen was he would never befriend another family again. But what happened was he went on and continued sort of poking the lion. And then that's how the Arvisos came into the picture.
Okay, so first of all, when the Arvisos were in the picture, I mean, to anyone who doesn't know, you know, Gavin Arviso, he was battling cancer, and the doctors were telling Gavin's parents that they should prepare for Gavin's funeral and all this other stuff. And the Arvisos were trying to find ways to make money off of this, unfortunately. So through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Gavin wished that he could meet Michael Jackson, because he also met George Lopez and Jay Leno and Chris Tucker and all this other stuff. And he obviously wanted to meet Michael. Michael spent time with Gavin in the hospital while his parents actually didn't. There were Janet Arviso was scamming other companies and reporters and stuff like that. And I mean, who knows where his father was. But yeah, Michael helped the Arvisos out a lot, you know, and I will say this. I think it was a mistake for Michael to invite the Arvisos to Neverland. You know, even though the intention was for them to spend a day there, the Arvisos took advantage of Michael and they stayed. It was actually, I heard that they were there for like 3 months in a row. And Janet Arviso took advantage of Michael's employees and Michael's generosity. She took his credit cards and went on shopping sprees and went to spas and stuff like that. She made his security guards drive her around as if she owned the property. And then her terrible sons trashed the property. There were many times when, like, the yard was destroyed, golf carts were, like, crashed and just trashed and everything. And they even broke into the wine cellar. And just so you know, when Gavin and his brother Star, when they got drunk at Neverland and they broke into the wine cellar, just so you know, Michael wasn't there that day when that happened. So when people tried to say that Michael gave the boys alcohol, no, they did that on the day when Michael wasn't at the ranch. They broke into the wine cellar. So that was stupid on their part. But when you have dumb parents, what do you expect? So anyway, after a while, the boys wanted to have a sleepover in Michael's room. And at first, Michael said no. You know, but then Janet said, well, you know, the boys, they just really want to have a sleepover in your room. It's okay. You know, they can do that. And then Michael pulled one of his security guards aside and said, if they're going to sleep in the room, then you need to sleep in the room with me because there's something wrong with this mother. She's effed up. So Gavin and Star slept in Michael's bed while Michael and the security guard slept on the floor. And again, that was another mistake that Michael made. Michael never should have given in to the boys' demands. But here's the problem. Michael was a people pleaser. He didn't want anyone to be mad at him, but at the same time, whenever he would do things to make people happy, it would usually bite him in the ass in the end, you know. So what Michael should have done, he should have put his foot down and say, look, I was more than happy to invite you guys to spend a day here, but I think it's gone too far. You know, I don't want to, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, to be honest, like I said, I wish Michael never invited them to the ranch in the first place. Or if he did invite them to the ranch, it should have been just for the day, and then they had to leave, like, at the end of the day. But yeah, having the boys sleep in Michael's room was a mistake, in my opinion. And I think Michael regretted that, obviously, and especially when the trial came around and when he found out that the Arvisos were accusing him again. And the reason why I say again was because, now, I don't know if Michael knew this, but before the Arviso family even knew Michael and before they even met him, Janet Arviso tried to accuse Michael of molesting Gavin. So again, I don't know if Michael knew that before he met the Arvisos. So Janet Arviso actually tried to accuse Michael twice. But the second time was when the Arviso family wanted to live at Neverland and Michael said no, and then he said, you need to leave. And then that's when she tried to go to a civil lawyer first. But it's not about money, right? And the civil lawyer told her, well, the law has changed. You have to go through the criminal case first before you can pursue a civil case. And then I bet she was thinking, oh, crap. But she did, and she stupidly lost, thankfully.